Have you been feeling out of balance lately? Have you been feeling busier than usual? Have you been feeling like no matter what you try, it still feels like you're constantly juggling and you can't seem to find that sweet spot, that peace, that rhythm? Maybe it's not a balance issue. Maybe it's a healing issue. I am going to go into why sometimes we feel out of balance and when it is a symptom that we might need some healing in our life. My name is April Bragg, and I am a clarity coach. And this channel is April Bragg About Life, where I share timeless truths to help entrepreneurs and leaders live, love, and lead with confidence. And a lot of times it feels like our most precious asset in life is our time and our attention. And it can feel like there are so many demands on it. And it can feel like we are out of balance. And we tend to think that is always a balance issue. But in working with many clients, I have come to find that sometimes there is some healing that needs to happen. And I don't want you to get too overly concerned, like worried. Oh my goodness, does this mean something seriously wrong? Do I need healing? Sometimes what we're healing is we're doing preventative maintenance, as in we're working on limiting beliefs that, if left unchecked, will cause us harm in the future, but may just be slowing us down right now. So I'm going to go into that in this video. I'm getting ahead of myself. But first, we're going to talk about what does balance look like. Then we're going to talk about what does the need for healing look like. Thirdly, we'll talk about the difference between balance and healing. And then I'm going to share with you practical tips that you can do in case you feel like you have the need for healing in an area instead of focusing on balance. Sometimes when we're seeking balance in our life, we don't realize that what it is we're actually seeking and desiring is healing. Healing from emotional wounds, healing from limiting beliefs, healing from past traumatic experiences. Our brain is very, very desirous to always keep us safe. And so sometimes it learns unhelpful lessons from past events, and we have to go back and say, hey, it's okay. I know that you were just trying to protect me, but now you're slowing me down in life. And I'd like to address this so that I can move forward to reach the potential that I dream is available to me. And I don't want to make this all about, oh, you always need to be striving to be more and more and reaching your full potential, because sometimes that can be exhausting in itself. But sometimes there's times when we're like, I just feel like I'm not, like my life could be better. I'm just not sure which area to work at it. So we're going to go into all that. So, first of all, let's talk about what we mean by balance. Balance is finding that equilibrium between the different areas of our life, between work, between our family, our health, our relationships. So many times we pick up the mistaken notion that we need to sacrifice something in order to have success in this area. And there's no doubt that some sacrifices give us better results in different areas. For example, if I would sacrifice some of the double stuffed Oreos that I have been indulging in, then I would have better weight loss results. But, and these are the kind of sacrifices that like extreme athletes would choose in a heartbeat in order to reach their desirous goals of like going to the Olympics or something like that. That's not the sacrifice that I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we think we have to give up on having time with our family, like taking care of our family because of the demands of work, or the demands of building a business, or the demands of meeting the demands of our congregation and our ministry. Sometimes we think there's just not enough time to take care of me and my health in my desire to take care of everybody else. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about balance. How do we maintain health in those different areas of our life? Because the real truth is that when we lose balance, for example, if we lose our health, then we lose our effectiveness in our business or our ministry, or we can't be there as much as we wanted to, or as long as we wanted to, or as fully as we wanted to with our family. So it makes no sense that it requires sacrificing something that's important to us in order to achieve success in another area that's important to us. That's where we want balance. And balance also does not mean that we give equal time to different areas of our life. Okay, if I slept for 8 hours, then I need to give 8 hours to this area and 8 hours to this area and 8 hours to this area. Now that's not how that works. Pretty soon we run out of 8-hour chunks to give. So when we're talking about balance, it's like we are talking about as a whole, what is this optimum level that we want to give to all the areas that are important in our life? And when I'm working with clients on balance, we're talking about actually getting clarity on our purpose, clarity on our priorities, clarity on our values, so that we can then order those and be very sure that, okay, I want to bring the best of myself to this situation. But in this area, I don't need to give it as full of my attention, or at least not for this season. So we're talking about giving it the attention and the focus that it deserves, like that we consciously choose. And sometimes when we're not being intentional about it, then we say yes to things that, while they seem urgent, maybe they're not actually important. So Stephen Covey does a great job of discussing the difference between urgency and importance in his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay, so when people come to me seeking balance, they are looking for time management strategies. How do I get more done in less time? Is there a way to automate? Is there a way to have this without sacrificing this? Is there a way to grow my business without neglecting my family? And if so, what does that look like? That's balance. Or balance can also look like we are seeking to be present in every area of our life. So, for example, sometimes we'll catch ourselves thinking about work when we're at home and thinking about home life when we're at work. And so my clients are looking for strategies on how do I leave work at home? Excuse me. How do I leave work at work and leave home at home and rest and bring my full attention to where I am right now? And again, that is where clarity and focus and then a very clear plan will help us achieve those goals, and then help us to get more done in less time, and also help us to enjoy the doing of it. It's very hard to be working at your full potential when in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I'm worried about this at home. Did I leave the stove on? Did I do this? Are my kids okay? Did I pay that bill? Do I need to balance is Yes, balance is a very desirable thing, as long as we don't believe that balance is equal time to equal areas of our life. Balance is all about optimization. That's what I'm trying to say. And optimizing for efficiency and enjoyment. Okay. But what if you have been trying to seek to be balanced? I'm trying to be a great mom and a great wife or a great spouse and a great friend. And also I'm trying to meet the needs of my employees or be there for my employer or all these things. And I just feel like I'm being pulled in too many directions. That could be a balance thing for sure. It's not a matter of balance so much as there is an internal need that's being not addressed. So balance is useful But if we're focused on maintaining external balance and we're not paying attention to what's going on internally, then that's where we might be missing symptoms that we need healing. So, what is healing and how is it different from balance? Healing goes deeper. It's addressing unresolved pain, unresolved wounds, unresolved trauma, unresolved or limiting beliefs that shape how we show up in the world. It's about healing is about taking the time to address underlying causes or getting to the why. For example, when we need to talk about healing, when we are repeating unhealthy patterns in relationships, that might look like overcommitting to a relationship. That might look like inviting needy people in, and then we play savior to them. That might look like inviting bossy people in, and then we play passive submissive to them. That might look like us saying yes when we truly desire to say no, but we feel a compulsion or we feel like we just can't say no. That might look like us always putting somebody else's desires ahead of ours and not even being able to identify what our desire is and not then making a conscious decision of which one we want to choose. Healing, when there's a need for healing, another sign is that even though you might have work-life balance, you still feel emotional burnout. Or another sign that there's a need for healing instead of balance is when you still feel constantly not good enough despite having achieved external success. So you get something done and you're just like, yeah, but it wasn't good enough. So this last one was definitely an indication to me that, oh, I don't think time management is going to solve whatever's going on in my life. In fact, I got to a point where I had created beautiful work-life balance between the things that I had wanted to achieve in my life and my future goals. Everything was moving forward. And I still felt like it just wasn't enough. And there was this drive, there was this lack of peace, which is really disturbing because then being a Christian, I made my lack of peace mean something about my relationship with God. Had nothing to do with my relationship with God, by the way. It had very much to do with my lack of relationship to myself and also there was just some things that I needed to deal with from my past. I had wrapped for me personally, it was that I had wrapped so much of my identity and self-worth in my achievement. So as I even got very clear about what it was that I wanted for my future and what I was trying to accomplish and the steps that would get me there, and even though I was making progress towards it, there was still this critical voice in my head saying, you're not doing enough. That's not good enough. You should want more. You should do more. And it wasn't like some kind of prompting from the Holy Spirit saying, hey, I've called you to more. No, it was just this. You're capable of doing more. You should be working harder. You should not rest until you're exhausted. That was a clue for me that I needed healing. So healing is sometimes the problem when it seems like you've been trying to achieve balance for a long time and you're not hitting it. How to know if you need balance or if you need healing. Here are the key signs that you're just looking for balance. Is you're feeling overwhelmed by your tasks or your responsibilities, or you're struggling with time management and productivity, and then you're constantly feeling pulled in different directions, but you don't actually have a deeper emotional distress. You might have a little bit of worry that the best years are passing by. Am I doing what's important? And you might feel a little bit guilty, but guilt is not defining every single one of your days. You need balance when you're like, I feel like I'm playing catch up. Like I just got this area caught up, but while I was focused on this one was losing ground. And now I've got to play catch up here. And as soon as I got caught up here, now I've got to focus here. It feels like you're trying to move to put out a fire constantly. Or it might be a balance issue when you are saying yes to too many things because of either a fear of scarcity or a fear of missing out. So, for example, my fun loving clients, they just like to automatically say yes, 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 yes. And they don't actually look and say, hey, do I even have time in my week for this? Or I might have time this week, but do I have time continually for this? And they just really hate to say no because something fun might happen while they weren't there. And it's an instinctual thing to say yes, but it comes from I don't want to miss out on the fun. And they can get help quickly by just getting clear on what's the purpose, what are the priorities, what are the values, what do I have time for in this season of life? How can I make more time? And how can I minimize times in areas that are not so much fun so I can put it in areas that are more fun? That's all the balance conversation. So balance feels like literally, oh, I don't know if I can keep on juggling this many things. Or you feel like, I just dropped something and now I've got to get it going again. Okay. And there's probably a little bit of frustration too of I should be doing better about this at this stage of my life than I have been. But healing feels a little bit heavier. Healing feels like you are stuck in cycles of self sabotage, or maybe it comes from people pleasing. When there's a need for healing, there's an underlying sadness, anger, guilt, or heaviness that doesn't go away even when you are managing to do better. Or there is just an overwhelming sense of emotional exhaustion that might be caused emotionally. You're like, no, I'm healthy, but I don't feel healthy. I feel exhausted. And also, a sign that healing might be needed is when you cannot give yourself credit for things that you have succeeded at, you have done well. And even if you do well, it does not give you a sense of fulfillment or peace or, hey, job well done. You feel like you always have to be hard on yourself. Okay, so being out of balance in a nutshell feels like you are trying to keep up with and always juggling a lot of things. But needing healing feels like you are pushing through, you're slogging through life, and you know that you're not really reaching your full potential, but you may feel too tired to try. Or this is a big one. I see this one actually a lot. Too scared to slow down and get to root issues. When my clients come to me, I don't worry too much about whether they need balance or healing because I know that they can hear healing and think, oh my goodness, something's terribly wrong with me and I'm broken. And it's no, we're just going to go through this exact same process. Because when we need to heal, it does slow us down. But when we heal, we get to speed up. It's literally like working out. Have you ever not been working out for a long time and then you go to the gym and you're really enthusiastic and you go and you lift a bunch of weights and the next day you're like, I am so sore, like so sore. Okay. You just need to heal. You need to heal so you can be stronger because those little minor wounds are healing from those is what's going to make you stronger. It's the minor wounds you need to become the stronger person to lift the next weight, to reach the next goal. So we're not always talking about heavy trauma wounds, but we can be talking about excess mental weight, like the notion that we're given all the time that our self-worth is tied to our productivity. Sometimes we need to heal from that messaging. Sometimes we've been carrying it for so long that we don't understand how much it's hampered us, how much it's wounded us, how much it has kept us from even being honest about what it is we are really trying to accomplish here in life. What would give our life meaning and purpose? So it's not always one or the other. Sometimes it's both. But healing is foundational to maintaining, to achieving and maintaining balance. So if you have tried to get balance over and over again, and you feel like you just haven't, you can't seem to maintain it, you might need to go a deeper level into what's tripping me up? What are those thoughts there? So that's why when I work with clients, we don't get too tied up into do they need balance or they need healing, because it just becomes clear. And the way you heal, which is my next point, how do we shift our focus from balance to healing? What are the practical steps to healing? The very first step is we're just acknowledging the root issues. So we're asking the questions that get us there. Instead of starting with, how can I be more productive? Or how can I reach this goal faster? We're asking questions like, why do I feel the need to stay busy? Or what do I think would happen if I gave myself permission to slow down? Is it okay to slow down? What comes up for you when I ask that? We're just exploring. Okay. That's step one, exploring what comes up. What are some of the stories that you have believed about your self worth and productivity? Or why does this goal feel so urgent? Why are we trying to reach this so quickly? Why can we not give it more time? What's the push? What's the rush? Then another tip, seek the help you need. Now, I think that there are three great resources for help in this area if I feel like I need help healing instead of just balance. Number one is therapy, especially if you know that it's been holding you back in multiple areas of life. Another very similar but different is coaching. This is something that I do in my own coaching is we heal the root causes of your busyness. A third is other personal development resources, books, podcasts. It's why I make this video. Personal development, being around people who seem to have better thoughts than you, hanging around people who seem to have a balance in life, and not to do what they do, but so you can know how they think and borrow their thoughts. That's really what personal development is. It's not copying somebody's actions nearly as much as it's copying their thinking patterns, because apparently their thoughts are serving them better than your thoughts are serving you, and seeing if there's anything in there that you can borrow. So it's the willingness to just to look at it, to slow down a little bit. Now, why should you seek help from either a therapist or a coach instead of self-help? I'll tell you exactly when. It's when you have a hard time stop judging yourself and you have a hard time offering yourself compassion. That is a clear indication that books and videos and podcasts may not serve you nearly as much as getting somebody else's instantaneous feedback and perspective on your own life. Because sometimes we're just not aware of how much we're really beating ourselves up instead of allowing ourselves to heal. Just imagine the scenario of, say, you're right-handed and you break your right arm. And then you go about your week saying, I can't believe I'm so slow. Like, I should still be able to get all this stuff done. And it's not only are you down one arm, but you're down your dominant arm. So you're doing everything in an unfamiliar way, and you only have one arm to do it. So actually, no, you should not be getting all the exact amount of stuff done. It's going to take different creativity. It's going to take different muscles. You're going to be tired more often. You're going to need to rest. You need to make sure that your arm is protected enough to heal. And then after it's healed, it's going to be a little bit weaker, and it's going to need maybe some therapy to strengthen it, to then get it back to functioning normal so that you then can be operating even faster with two fully functional arms. The same principle comes with time management. Sometimes we're not the person that should be setting our own arm because we're too impatient and we're too harsh on ourselves and we don't know how to set it right. And we're still beating ourselves up saying, forget the right arm. I'll just figure out how to do everything with the left. That is a strong indication that you should get help from somebody else. You should get help learning how to drop judgment and become more compassionate and more curious. The fourth tip is you do have to create space for healing. If you'll slow down, you can speed up. I wouldn't say balance comes after healing, but balance will come more easily with healing. Once you've addressed the deeper wounds, that you'll find that balance is easier to maintain. You don't have to fully heal from everything in order to lead a fulfilling and meaningful life. It's just you'll know that you need healing when you're trying to do something and you're suspecting it's taking longer than it needs to. And it's harder and it feels like you're going through that slog and you can't seem to figure out, like, it shouldn't be this way. It's a little bit harder. Why? What's the deal? Okay, that's an indication that, oh, maybe there's some healing that needs to take place. Or alignment. This is what I love. When you heal, you're less likely to overcompensate in different areas of your life because you're no longer driven by unresolved pain. A lot of highly successful men and women are actually overachieving, doing it the hard way because they're afraid to slow down and address the pain. And they're also afraid that if they address the pain, they'll lose their drive. And I just don't believe that. I don't believe that our best work is going to come from us working so hard because we feel like there's something wrong with us. I think that our best contribution to this world, to society, to others is going to come from a place of wholeness in ourselves. So I think our most creative form of contribution is going to come from a place of wholeness. So that is, in a nutshell, the difference between balance and healing. I just want to leave you with this final thought. Sometimes the answer is not to juggle better, but is to put down what is breaking you. Even though it might feel like taking the time to create the space to heal is slowing you down, it's actually the thing you need to go faster in the future. And actually, sometimes, and I've seen this happen more than once, healing can happen instantaneously. I've seen people who have carried around something that has slowed them down in their life for years and like all the way through multiple sessions. And then all of a sudden, they finally bring up the one thing. And in one session, something they've struggled with for years, they've gotten to the root cause. They see it from a completely different perspective. They drop the limiting beliefs about it. They have a completely new belief that serves them better. And it's fine. They just move on. They don't have to keep on revisiting it. So it is not about the timeline, no matter what, balance or healing. It is more time efficient to pause long enough to get balance, to get healing, because you'll make up that time on the backside. And by the way, there's no time to make up, okay? But if your concern is, I need to get more done in less time, number one, let's make sure that's coming from a good place, not coming from a trauma place. And then number two, then let's then give you the tools you need to get more done and give yourself the rest. So many times we are doing the exact opposite of the thing that we need to do in order to be more productive with our time. We are not getting the rest we need. We are not recovering enough. We are not doing things in our way, in a way that suits our personality. We are trying to do things in a way that we've borrowed from somebody else, but it doesn't work for us. Think about it. Do you need more balance in your life? Do you feel like you're juggling things all the time and falling behind in one area while you catch up in another? Or might you need healing? Might you need to ask, what is the thing that is either really preventing me from taking action or staying busy all the time because I'm afraid to slow down? Because when we're trying to stay busy, we're not doing our best work. We are just doing whatever comes to hand. We're not thinking future focused, long term, what do I want to devote my life to? At the end of the day, I just don't want you to have regrets looking back and saying, oh, I can't believe that I spent so much time on this when really I could have been more about this thing that is more important to me. If you feel like you'd like support in this area, then I invite you to book a clarity call. This is the work that I do for people, helping them get clear about your purpose, your priorities, your values, and then how to stack them in a way where each area of your life supports the other so that you can feel productive and so you can enjoy your life. Pleasure. Because I don't think productivity is the point. I think we are more than just productive robots. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and maybe I'll do a future video on that. And also, if you'd like personalized support, then go to the description. I'll put a link there, but it's aprilbragg.as.me/clarity. You can book a free clarity call, and this is where we start the work of getting clear on what matters most to you. So you can always have the confidence that you're doing what matters most, and that's all that matters. Time management is not about managing your time so you get more done. It's about being aware of what matters most and making sure that gets done. All right. This has been fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.